Very few brands achieve cult status, the kind of status that is so huge, a legacy so big that customers are willing to look past a rather not so perfect past and yet embrace that brand's future. One of those brands that still has that kind of appeal, that still has a huge following and a fan base, and which continues to have the kind of iconic status that it had for the last 90 years. This is the brand we're talking about, the new Royal Enfield Bullet. The Bullet is stood the test of time. It's a brand that immediately conjures up images of the armed forces and its stunts during Republic Day parades. It conjures up images of people crossing continents, and that is what we're going to be riding through the day to give you a first-hand impression of how the new Bullet feels like on the road. So how do you redesign a brand and a motorcycle that has remained pretty much unchanged? Bullet brand is almost 90 years old. The design has remained pretty much the same for nearly 7 decades, and this is a design that's retained its appeal and its timelessness for all of this sort of period. And that is the reason why you don't mess with a design like that. You just refine it. You just make sure that the platform offers even more of the refinement the current day generation expects, and yet all of that signature elements from the past are retained so that its appeal remains undiminished. That's what Royal Enfield designers have done. The teardrop fuel tank, the round headlamp, and that classic casket on top with those circular dials. Chrome elements, as you can see, quite a few of them. The silencer, the rear view mirrors, the frame for the headlamps, and of course the spokes on the wheels. All of these are timeless elements from the design of the Bullet which have been retained. That goes through with the 2023 Bullet 352. More importantly, the one thing that the Bullet has been extremely famous for, with a lot of the appeal coming through now with people appreciating handcrafting and hand artistry, that is of course these gold pinstripes that you see on the fuel tank. These pinstripes continue to be hand painted. It is fundamental, integral part of the Bullet, and Royal Enfield continues to make sure that all of Bullet's fuel tanks are hand painted by extremely talented artists at the new plant in Oragadam. I was there to personally oversee fuel tank being painted by these artists, and I can give it to you that these are extremely talented people that get this kind of perfection with an ultra steady hand. So there you go, the headlamp now is a halogen bulb, and that's classic circular headlamp with the chrome frame. The two tiger's eye here, again capturing the essence of the Bullet and its special look. A logo and an emblem that runs across on the fuel tank with crown, that British heritage coming through quietly there. Bullet 350 logo emblazoned on the air filter box too. A lot of the parts here are shared with the RE Classic already in the market. The Classic 350 gets the same J platform engine and gearbox, and of course quite a few of these features that you see, the turn indicators, the switch gear, and some of the other parts at the rear, the tail lamp and the turn indicators too. That said, the Bullet still has rectangular side boxes. It's got this special single unit seat and a very simplistic tubular rear grab handle which is powder coated with open bolts. There is a strong Bullet design element that comes through the overall looks, and of course the rather upright, easy to ride seating position again, which is very unique to the Bullet. Overall, the construction continues to retain the charm of the original. It still is simple and rugged, and yet a lot of refinement has come through with the changes. The finish quality is better, and some of the changes to the front mudguard and the rear mudguard, etc., have made it look a little stronger. Some of the changes should make a difference to the ride quality too, like these 19-inch rims in the front and the 18-inch rims at the rear. I must tell you that the overall refinement levels have improved, and it certainly looks better than before. On-road performance should be better too with this new twin down tube spine frame, that has been specially developed for this new Bullet 350. The new Bullet 350 gets the J series engine that has already been featured in the Classic, the Meteor and the Hunter. This engine replaces the previous Bullet's UCE mill, the unit construction engine. This 349cc engine is also tuned to deliver the same output as in the Classic. The single cylinder 4-stroke air and oil cooled engine delivers a peak power of 20.2 bhp and a max torque of 27 Newton meters. The big advantage with this engine, of course, is its refinement levels. It's a tried and tested engine. The primary balancer shaft in this engine cuts out a lot of the vibrations, and there's very little in terms of harshness that I feel at the bar or even at the pedals while I'm riding into 3-digit speeds. There is, of course, the inevitable dumbing down of the trademark Bullet thump, which in this engine and due to various regulations and stipulations has been brought down to a point where it surely won't wake up the neighborhood. There is mild vibrations and there is a sort of rhythmic vibration that does come up to the seat of my pants, but other than that, there is more often the hint of a thump while I am on full throttle on top gear, or if I am pulling away from low speeds while being on 4th or 5th gear. Gearbox is a 5-speed and it's both heel and toe activated. The Bullet 350 pulls away clean without any knocking, even from fairly low speeds while you are on the 3rd or 4th or 5th gears, which is the classic Bullet behavior. There is this very little need to shift gears to try and reach into more torque. The advantage with the Bullet always being that it chugs away even without you shifting into a lower gear. So pulling away from low speeds while in a higher gear, of course, raises the exhaust note, and that is the one odd occasion when you do enjoy the feel of riding the Bullet. Suspension is 41mm twin fork at the front with 130mm travel, and at the rear it has twin shocks with adjustable preload. The suspension feels quite stable and extremely good on clean tarmac and into the straights. It is also quite planted and predictable into corners, which is a good thing with the new Bullet. I haven't ridden it long enough for me to comment about its ride quality over really broken tarmac, but it certainly feels more than comfortable on most conditions. The ride position is a bit upright and one can, of course, easily ring the throttle and pull away from thick traffic. So the Bullet has evolved, and this new Bullet 350 is a lot different from the Bullets of the past. It's become a lot more refined. It certainly rides far more refined, and this new J series engine, of course, is bringing a lot of refinement to its ride and performance on the road. It's still an icon, and it still is retained a lot of the charm of the original, but just as much as the Bullet has evolved, so have buyers and their preferences. They are not the kind of buyers of the past, so their expectations are different. Gen Z may not fully identify with the Bullet as a brand and its history and its legacy, but there are, of course, huge fans of the Bullet, and for them this continues to be a Bullet from the ground up. For the others, there's going to be a toss-up between the Classic 350 and this new Bullet 350. Many of them may not quite see the impact of the Bullet and its legacy, but it still is going to be a choice worth considering for a lot of buyers out there. And so, despite the fact that seniors like me would definitely have a lot more attachment to the Bullet brand, the new buyers will still consider this alongside the Classic 350. Prices for the new Bullet start from about 1.73 lakh and go all the way up to about 2.14 lakh. So there are 3 trim variants on offer. The Bullet Military is the base trim variant, which gets a single channel ABS for the front, disc brakes and drum brakes at the rear. Then there is the Bullet Standard, which sits in the middle, and then there, of course, is the top end Bullet Black Gold, which is got a matte black finish with matte black rims, and it has a special standing. So those are the 3 trim variants. go ahead, take a test ride at your nearest Royal Enfield showroom and come back to us with comments.